Hello, everyone. This is near office hours for August the 28th. Different to what's on screen because we have last time's agenda up because the current time's agenda is currently being recovered from Ubuntu Discourse. But we will go from that one and kind of switch over to the topics that we know we wanted to talk about. And first and foremost, that's Mir 22. Last time it was imminent. This time it is done. So there's a few big things here. Like there is a breaking change, or well, a couple, I suppose. Like we consolidated the edit parsing because there was like too many examples of that, and that means that we had to drop a couple APIs. Those shouldn't have been used anywhere outside of ours anyway. Or Miriway, which we have contacted, and that's done. So we don't believe that's going to be an actual breakage for anyone. But what also happened is that NVIDIA 550 is end of life, and 565 Plus is actually missing the WL bind Wayland display extension on some hardware. We're still tracking this, what actually is the case, but I have multiple examples of hardware that I have access to in our lab that does not have that extension. But everybody who's actually tried it at home sees that extension and things work fine. So we're still trying to track what's happened. Regardless, NVIDIA on GBM KMS should work otherwise. So it's not the default, but you can flip it on by disabling EGL streams or just directly selecting the GBM and Atomic platforms for display and for rendering and display respectively. There's a bunch of API updates, but yeah, so there's a lot here, but you can now have displays identified in the static configuration by model, serial number, whatever, rather than just outputs. We have a lot more accessibility stuff in this release, from pointer accessibility through magnification. So you can use magnification with depending on your shell. What else is here? Right, bypass. On Atomic KMS, you can actually enable bypass, which means that full screen surfaces, the compositor will just sit behind and not do anything. What else is important here? Yeah, DMA buff was bumped to version 5. And because we're working on Rust support, then we actually have some Rust in the Mir build. Nothing that affects anybody downstream right now. It's just an experiment to start with, but we are looking into better working with Rust in the future. And I think that's more or less that. In terms of bugs, there's a few, and those are all here. So yeah, the release notes are here. Any questions, anything I didn't mention about this one? No. In that case, instead of Alan, I will actually speak a little bit about Miriway. So following the 222 release, Miriway is going to come. That's going to expose all of the accessibility stuff, as well as just the features that Mir now has. One thing that Neil will be interested in, Miriway, the next Miriway will have the login local one dbus interface integration. So that will be respecting what's happening on the system, provided it's turned on. But yeah, otherwise it's just the usual update. Everything that I just talked about Mir is going to be available in Miriway once that gets released. Anything on that?
Just a quick question. So for Fedora, I no longer build EGL stream support in Mir because NVIDIA has asked us to stop using it everywhere.
Good.
So that means that it should wind up being what? It should use GVM automatically for the driver.
So right now you will need this switch. Your platform display libs. If you don't build EGL stream, then you might actually just export those as make those default. But we will in 222.1 we will actually make this so that if EGL stream isn't there, then DBM and Atomic will work. That's going to be a week or two before we release that. So 0.1 will just work. Or if EGL stream is either not working or is unavailable, then it will fall back to those on NVIDIA.
So I need 222.1 for that to work.
For automatically, yes, but you can override this today with these if on the platform.
Do we know when 222.1 will release with this?
Week or two max.
Okay. Well, that's fine, because the other part of this is I haven't actually been able to release Mir 222 because neither Miriway nor Miracle build against it right now in their latest released versions. So I am a little stuck at the moment. So
Miriway should be imminent, latest over the weekend, I imagine.
Okay.
Alan's working on it right now. He actually wanted to have something to show here, but he was pulled to other stuff, and also WF recorder was behaving weirdly, so he got stuck in a rabbit hole.
Okay.
But yeah, soon, imminent.
Yes.
Same.
Are you sure, Matthew? Are you sure?
I could cut it short and actually just go release something for you instead of doing everything I want to do.
Well, I mean, I need 222.1 now because apparently I have now broken all NVIDIA users by not building that part.
Yeah.
So, so we can wait a few days.
Okay, I'll try to do it over the weekend.
Yeah, or Neil, if you're pressed for it, then there's a patch in pull requests, but it's a few lines patch to just drop the quirks out. And
yeah, I'll probably backport the patch then, because I did not realize I just broke all NVIDIA users by not building that anymore.
Happens.
So that's it's here 4155.
Okay.
It's like a few lines patch.
Yeah, that isn't even too bad. It's just dropping a bunch of conditional.
It's just you don't even need the EGL stream bit because you're not building it, but the DBM and Atomic just removing NVIDIA from those lists is that's the patch. So I'm going to drop this here and in the notes as well.
Cool. Yeah. I will probably. I haven't actually built 222.0 yet in Fedora Rawhide because I can't. But I will pull this patch in as part of building it when I release it along with Miriway and Miracle.
Cool. Okay, and the other topic that I wanted to raise is global shortcuts, and so we're working on global shortcuts and designing the whole solution. Nothing that exists on the Wayland side of things is we're happy with.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a different protocol potentially, or at least a modification or a revision of what's out there. What drives us, and I think this is the most important, is to have for it to be a privileged interface to be able to register shortcuts. And for example, in the case where portals are in the mix, then the portal backend would be the privileged client to make it. So you actually would have to go through this. Maybe something else as a privileged client. We're thinking, auth tab switcher or the expose effect and such. We want to all be part of that same story, simply so that there's no special casing, so that there's nothing that you have to do in a shell to be able to use those features, while maintaining compatibility with keyboards, yes, but extra mouse buttons or gestures like touch gestures. Those are the kind of things that we are considering in this whole story, so that then the user on the other hand can actually decide which, like the application might just want a keyboard shortcut to trigger something, but the user might want something else altogether because they know what they have. So ultimately, we want the user to have the freedom to just configure the hell out of it via whatever settings app the shell provides. And that's also why we're kind of going with the gatekeeper approach, where the gatekeeper would likely be shell specific. That's the portal implementation usually, but maybe something else as well, or maybe this is that. But that's how we're designing it, right? So you will be able to receive those events, those global shortcuts or actions, triggers, however we call it. You will be able to receive those through an unprivileged interface, provided you get probably a token initially from the gatekeeper implementation. But those are the use cases that we're thinking of. So push to talk, OBS, record, pause, those kinds of things, and whatever else shortcuts OBS wants. Alt tab switcher because this is a global shortcut, right? And 3-finger gestures because this is a global shortcut. Things like that. All of those are things kind of are in our purview.
Yeah. I want us to think a little bit more beyond the global shortcuts portal, because in terms of like what we want this thing to do, mostly because nobody likes the global shortcuts portal. OBS doesn't want to implement it, and because like apparently there's complications with it because its design is a little too limiting. And like I currently have seen basically no take up of that portal, which tells me that despite the fact that GNOME has finally implemented it, and Katie's had it for 3 years now, that nobody likes it. And so someone has screwed up along the way in terms of actually thinking of an interface that people want to use. So one of the things we might want to consider doing is going to the OBS studio people and asking them what they particularly need out of being able to handle unfocused shortcuts, right? Like that's what global shortcuts are. So, and then like talking to the Plasma folks, because like Plasma is unique in that every application in KDE can register to have their shortcuts managed by the window manager through. And so I think those are the two major cases that cover the spectrum of needs for this sort of thing. And kind of having a concept of what those are should help us make something that is actually something people want to use. Because I don't want to spend all this time and then realize no one wants to use it yet again, because that just sucks. It's a waste of everybody.
Right. So I think what we'll do is once we have like the very high level design that we're working on right now, we will just publish it and reach out to those communities for comment on. And a portal is just one implementation of what we're thinking of, like for backwards compatibility, right?
Sure. I expect that the portal will be a subset implement of what this thing does, but like clearly the portal design is not sufficient for what people actually want.
All right. And okay, I think that's it. From actions from previous meetings, I was supposed to speak to Cloud.init about the copper formula and failed to do so. I have now added a deadline for me to do it. So I will have something to report on next time we speak, or I will talk about it before, probably whenever I get something. So Neil, I will reach out about that.
Excellent. And I have a pull request open for getting the Mir packaging into the spread CI. However, it doesn't work because the tests are hanging. And it's the same kind of hangs that I see when I try to run the test suite inside the Fedora build system. So there is something very clearly wrong with how the tests run, and I don't understand what it is because it makes no sense.
Well, so I think what's happening there is that something that we assume is in the environment is not in your environment, right? And like maybe it's dbus, maybe it's, I don't know, something that along those lines. So we have to just get into it, get into the machine when it's failing, accept it's timing out, so it's not really giving us the opportunity to. But we actually can do this while it's hanging. Like we can get in and see where it's hanging, and go from there. So I will spend some time on that as soon as I can.
For what it's worth, when I run it locally, it will hang indefinitely. I have left my computer running a whole day, and it will not.
I
so it does. So just so you know, it just never finishes.
Yeah. So at least it's good to know that you're able to reproduce it locally, which like will help us actually, dig into it from our side as well.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, that's all I had on the invisible agenda, I think. Anything else folks want to talk about?
No, I think this is pretty much it for me. Like I didn't actually get a chance to really use 222 yet because I don't have either Miracle or Miriway, and that's kind of a prerequisite. And so I really haven't had any chance to give feedback about it. I'm happy to see X Workspace is going to be implemented in the next version. That's going to make discussions with some of the other desktops much easier, because now it means that it's compatible with anything that's using libxfc for windowing, which requires that that protocol.
All right. Okay. If there's nothing else, then we will see you next time. I'm going to kill the recording. Thanks all.